This is one of Spain's newest airports. But the disaster here? It's not a plane crash or a passenger issue. In fact, these people aren't even travelers. They're extras in a Pedro Almodovar film. Because this airport, it hasn't seen a real passenger in years. Ciudad Real International Airport opened in 2009 and closed in 2012. Now, it's a cinematic backdrop and was once sold at auction for less than the price of a used car. So, how does a €1 billion project collapse so spectacularly? The dream takes flight in the late 1990s. Spain was booming. The country had joined the Eurozone, interest rates were low, and construction projects exploded. Airports, railways, highways. If it could be built, it was. Enter Ciudad Real, a modest city with about 75,000 residents. It had a water park, a medieval gate, and a museum dedicated to Don Quixote. It did not have a major airport, but local leaders thought, why not? Madrid's Barajas airport was crowded, so why not build a second gateway, just 170 kilometers away? The plan was bold, a regional airport to absorb Madrid's overflow. They formed CR Aeropuertos and launched the Don Quixote International Airport project. It would be state-of-the-art, a 4 kilometers runway, long enough for the Airbus A380. A terminal ready for 2 million passengers per year, expandable to 9 million. A planned high-speed rail link whisking travelers to Madrid in under an hour. This wasn't just another low-cost airport. It was supposed to be a global hub. The first problems, but before the first plane could land, the cracks were already showing. The original construction site overlapped with a protected bird habitat. After a series of lawsuits and environmental concerns, construction was moved and paused, delaying the project by 2 years and shrinking the airport's potential footprint. Then came 2008. The global financial crash hit Spain especially hard. Airlines folded. Travel demand shrank. The airport, finally completed in 2008, opened into a collapsing market. The ghost terminal, when the airport opened, it had no scheduled flights. Its staff waited 6 months for the first commercial plane. A BBC reporter later quoted an employee saying they were so bored they raced cleaning machines and picked asparagus. Only 2 domestic airlines briefly operated from the airport. An international Ryanair flight launched in 2010 and lasted just 5 months. In October 2011, the final passenger flight departed. By April 2012, Ciudad Real International Airport was officially closed. A bad location made worse, so what went wrong? Let's start with location. The airport is 170 kilometers from Madrid, like building an airport for New York and Scranton, Pennsylvania. The whole idea depended on a direct high-speed rail link. But the station? It was never built. Passengers would exit the terminal, walk a bridge, and find no trains, no platform, no station. Just empty track. As for its ambitions to attract A380s, sure, the runway was big enough. But the terminal had 0 gates equipped for super jumbos. No 3-bridge gates, no oversized baggage systems. Nothing. A comedy of errors and the name? Initially, the airport was proudly branded Don Quixote International. But shortly before opening, that quietly changed. Why? Maybe because Don Quixote is a famously delusional fantasist who charges at windmills. Sound familiar? The infamous sale after closing, the airport sat abandoned. In 2015, it was sold in a bizarre auction for just €10,000, the cost of a nice stair car. But the deal fell through. A new buyer stepped in later, paying €56 million in 2018. It's now used to store and maintain aircraft. Ironically, it found its moment during the COVID-19 pandemic when empty skies meant airlines needed space to park and use planes. Ciudad Real became the world's most expensive parking lot. A financial fiasco, so who paid for this mess? Well, that public-private partnership model Spain relied on. It came with a catch. If the project failed, the government, aka taxpayers, picked up the tab. When a regional bank funding Ciudad Real collapsed, it was bailed out too. This wasn't an isolated case. It was one of many PPP failures that helped spark Spain's worst banking crisis in history. The final chapter? Today's Ciudad Real International is not expected to ever reopen for passengers. No airlines, no arrivals, just empty halls and long shadows. In a way, its story mirrors that of Don Quixote himself. Bold dreams, noble intentions, and a tragic disconnect from reality. But hey, at least it made for a good movie set.